You step into the shower. The water is perfectly hot. You lather up with a scented chemical bar that strips every drop of natural oil from your skin. You rinse it away and step out, feeling perfectly clean. But are you? For 99% of human history, this morning ritual did not exist. Today, the average person uses over a dozen chemical products on their body before leaving the house. Modern society equates cleanliness with absolute sterility. But for hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors had a completely different definition of what it meant to be clean. If you were dropped into the ancient world, you would be horrified by their hygiene habits, but they would be equally horrified by yours. How did ancient humans actually stay clean without shampoo, deodorant, or running water? Start with the most intimate part of your body, your mouth. You might think prehistoric humans had rotting, putrid teeth. You picture a grinning skull with jagged black cavities and infected gums. That is a modern projection. Before the widespread invention of refined sugar and processed carbohydrates, ancient teeth were surprisingly healthy. Your ancestors did not have mint toothpaste, but they kept their teeth impeccably clean. They used a much rougher method. Paleobiologist Karen Hardy analyzed the fossilized dental plaque of a 50,000-year-old Neanderthal found in El Cidrón cave in northern Spain. Her team discovered something incredible trapped inside the hardened tartar: microscopic wood fibers. Your prehistoric ancestors were vigorously picking their teeth. They used small, carefully sharpened twigs to dig out meat and tough plant fibers after every meal. It was brutal, effective, and completely necessary. Every time you casually use a wooden toothpick after a steak dinner, you are repeating a grooming ritual older than modern humanity itself. But what about the rest of the body? How do you wash off the thick sweat and heavy grime of a marathon mammoth hunt? You cannot go to a store, you cannot turn a faucet. You use what the fire leaves behind. When animal fat drips onto the white-hot ashes of a campfire, it creates a powerful chemical reaction. It creates the earliest primitive form of soap. The ancient Babylonians documented a highly refined version of this recipe on clay cylinders over 4,000 years ago. But archaeologists believe early humans stumbled upon this chemical magic tens of thousands of years earlier. Imagine sitting by the hearth after a long, exhausting hunt. You take a handful of gritty white wood ash. You mix it with the rendered fat of the animal you just cooked. You rub this thick, abrasive paste deep into your skin. It creates a compound that chemically binds to dirt and natural oils. You then scrape it off with a smooth stone, taking the grime with it. It smells strongly like roasted meat and burnt wood. It stings your skin, but it works perfectly. In the deep past, smelling perfectly clean was actually a massive liability. If you were tracking a wary herd of reindeer across the Pleistocene tundra, you could not smell like lavender soap. You could not smell like a human. You had to smell like the earth. Your ancient ancestors intentionally masked their scent. They rolled in the dirt. They rubbed themselves with the pungent oils of local plants. They covered their skin in animal fat and crushed charcoal. This was not just for warmth or early skincare. It was camouflage. To be clean in the Ice Age meant to be completely invisible to the powerful noses of the megafauna you were hunting. If a saber-toothed cat or a giant cave bear caught the sharp, unnatural scent of a modern human taking a stroll through the ancient woods, you would instantly become the prey. Your lack of natural grime would get you killed. You might assume that as humans became more civilized, they became inherently cleaner. You imagine the grand gleaming marble baths of ancient Rome. Surely, this was the absolute peak of ancient hygiene. This is where the story takes a disgusting turn. The transition from wild hunter-gatherers to civilized city dwellers was a biological disaster. Biological anthropologist Piers Mitchell spent years studying ancient Roman latrines, sewers, and burial sites. He analyzed the fossilized waste left behind by thousands of proud citizens. What he found completely shattered the illusion of the clean Roman. The soil was absolutely crawling with the eggs of dangerous intestinal parasites. Whipworm, roundworm, dysentery causing amoebas. The Romans bathed every single day in massive communal pools of warm water, but the water was rarely changed. A Roman bathhouse was not a sterile luxury spa. It was a giant, lukewarm petri dish where the entire city traded skin infections and microscopic worms. By moving into crowded cities and pooling their water, your ancestors created an absolute paradise for disease. How did you actually clean yourself in one of these massive bathhouses? You did not use soap. You used oil and metal. Imagine standing naked in a steamy, echoing room filled with hundreds of talking people. A servant or a friend pours thick, heavy olive oil over your shoulders. You rub it deep into your pores, letting it mix with your sweat. Then, they take a curved metal tool called a strigil. They press the blunt metal edge violently hard against your skin. They drag it downward in long, forceful strokes. It aggressively scrapes away the oil, the dead skin cells, the dried sweat, and the dirt. It leaves a thick, dark gray sludge on the marble floor. It is highly exfoliating. It is physically exhausting. It is how you got clean. If the Roman baths were a petri dish, the centuries that followed were a completely different kind of extreme. Fast forward to the Middle Ages in Europe. The massive, sophisticated aqueducts of the ancient world had crumbled into ruins. The public bathhouses were closed. A terrifying new medical theory began to spread across the continent. People believed that water was dangerous. They believed that sitting in a hot bath would open the pores of your skin, allowing deadly miasma, corrupted, foul-smelling air, to enter your body and kill you. So they simply stopped washing. For hundreds of years, kings and peasants alike believed that a thick layer of dirt and natural body oils was a physical shield against the plague. How did they stay clean without water? They used linen. Your ancestors believed that vigorously rubbing the body with a dry, coarse linen cloth would absorb all the sweat and impurities from the skin. If you were wealthy, you changed your white linen shirt multiple times a day. The white shirt acted as a primitive sponge. They believed the shirt was washing them. You would walk through a medieval village surrounded by people wearing fine, bright clothes, but radiating the intense, heavy smell of unwashed bodies. They covered the stench with strong perfumes, crushed rose petals, and pouches of sweet-smelling herbs. To them, smelling like heavy musk and strong flowers was the ultimate sign of cleanliness. Water was for drinking, not for risking your life. Then comes the most uncomfortable question of ancient daily life. What happens when nature calls? Today, you use plush, bleached, multiply paper. In the ancient world, toilet paper was a luxury of the distant, unimaginable future. So what did your ancestors do? In the ruins of a 2,000-year-old military way station in northwestern China, archaeologists led by Hui Yuanye discovered the harsh reality of ancient bathroom habits. Deep inside an ancient latrine pit, they found broken bamboo sticks, wrapped tightly with scraps of cloth. They called them hygiene sticks. They were used exactly how you think they were used. They were crude, rough, and highly effective. In ancient Rome, the solution was even more communal. They used a tool called a tersorium. It was a sea sponge, tied firmly to the end of a long wooden stick. You sat on a cold stone toilet situated over a flowing drain. You used the sponge. You rinsed it in a shallow channel of running water at your feet. Then, you handed it directly to the person sitting on the bare stone toilet next to you. You shared it with everyone in the room. It is deeply horrifying to a modern, sanitized mind, but to your ancestors, wiping with a communal sponge was a perfectly normal, daily social experience. There is a profound, counterintuitive twist to all of this ancient grime. By constantly exposing themselves to dirt, animal microbes, and harsh natural environments, ancient humans built something you are desperately lacking today. They built an indestructible immune system. Evolutionary biologists and microbiome researchers have studied the DNA trapped in ancient human remains. They discovered that prehistoric humans hosted a massive, incredibly diverse ecosystem of helpful bacteria in and on their bodies. They had a rich, thriving microbiome. Today, modern obsession with antibacterial soap and sterile environments has completely wiped out your microbial allies. Humans have scrubbed themselves so clean that modern immune systems are fundamentally bored. Without a constant stream of natural microbes to fight, your immune system starts attacking your own body. This is leading to skyrocketing rates of allergies, asthma, and severe autoimmune diseases. Modern humans engineered the protective dirt out of their lives. They made themselves physically weaker in the process. Your ancient body was not designed to be sterile. It was designed to live in messy, chaotic balance with the microscopic world around it. You carry a deep biological memory of the soil, the smoke, the ash, and the wild rivers. Your skin actually expects to be challenged by the elements. Your immune system expects a daily fight to stay strong. The next time you step into a steaming shower, pause for a moment. Look at the colorful plastic bottles lining the perfectly clean tile shelf. Think about the microscopic wood fibers acting as bone toothpicks. Think about the sharp, scraping edge of the metal strigil. Think about the gritty, stinging paste of animal ash and fat. You step into the shower. The water is perfectly hot. You lather up with a scented chemical bar that strips every drop of natural oil from your skin. You rinse it away and step out, feeling perfectly clean. But are you really?